The other day I watched a video by an American preacher and he was telling the biblical story of Abraham, where he sets the intention to sacrifice his son to God. And as I watched the video, I thought to myself, what a load of shit. Now, ordinarily I make it a rule not to swear on video or in writing, but when it comes to religion, it just pushes me to the limit. So here's the story in brief. God tells Abraham to take his son to a mountaintop and sacrifice him. As he is about to kill the boy, he sees a sheep that is caught in a thicket. He changes his mind and decides to sacrifice the sheep instead. And Christians rave about the story as if God did this to test Abraham's faith. But in reality, the story should be archived into the depths of some library basement and forgotten about forever. Now, the way the story is written, it sounds like there is some entity called God who talks to Abraham inside his mind. Now, let's get real. I don't know the historical or cultural context, but what I gather is that at some time in the Middle East, for some reason, people sacrificed their children. In fact, some people from the Middle East still murder their daughters if they bring dishonor to the family. Anyway, at some point, the thought arises in his mind. That is, Abraham thinks to himself, I am going to sacrifice my son. That sounds like a good idea. If I do that, maybe I will win the lottery. So he does all the preparation. He takes his son to the mountaintop, builds a fire, straps the boy to the fire, pulls out his dagger with the intention to murder his son, but then he has second thoughts. He thinks to himself, what are you doing? I love my boy. I don't want to kill him. And then he looks to one side and he sees a sheep caught in a thicket. So then the thought arises, why don't I kill the sheep instead? That would be a much better thing to do than killing my son. So then he kills the sheep. But his son, keeps pestering him, what were you thinking of? Why were you going to kill me? Now, an honest father would tell his son that he had this crazy belief that if you make a sacrifice of your child to some fictitious god, then good fortune may follow. But Abraham isn't honest with himself or others. He blames his actions upon a fictitious entity which he calls God. God is the scapegoat. God made me do it, but not for bad reasons. God made me do it because he was testing my faith. So Abraham creates a fictional story to hide the fact that he was ready to murder his son for some stupid belief. In fact, if Abraham had trust in existence, if Abraham had faith in life, if Abraham had been life positive rather than life negative, the thought to sacrifice his son would never have arisen in his mind. So thoughts arise in the mind for one reason or another, and we all need to take responsibility for our thoughts. Blaming the thoughts upon some fictitious God doesn't serve anyone. The only thing that it serves is ignorance. In fact, the word sin means ignorance. And what is the solution to ignorance? Awareness. By practicing being more aware, by practicing being more conscious of the thoughts as they arise in the mind, you learn to master the mind, and you learn how to move from the back seat into the driver's seat of your life. You can keep God if you like, but let him be like a little teddy bear, God, that sits on the back seat for the children to play with.